got very good.
Yeah, but that's just not Haaland
gifted...
alone, though. I don't get why we always do this.
Haaland.
I mean, Rodri is the best DM in the world. Kevin De Bruyne is the best player in the world alongside Mo in the Premier League for the last 7-8 years. Those two have been the face of the Premier League for 7-8 years in a row. You've got Kyle Walker, who's probably in an all-time Premier League 11 is the right back. You've got Gvardiol, who literally finished third with Croatia, was one of the most exciting youngsters in world football. All that potential, they signed him. You've got Ake, you've got Akanji, you've got Ruben Diaz, who is the captain, and the captain of Portugal when Ronaldo isn't playing, I believe, as well. You've got Bernardo Silva, who's been there, done that. Kovacic, who's a multiple-time Champions League winner. I'm not saying the players that were even comparing Haaland to have weaker teams or anything. I'm not making that argument. I'm simply stating that in current modern-day football, it's not like it used to be before in terms of the competitiveness and stuff like this. And by the way, West Ham proved it today. Like, here's the thing that when you come up against Man City, who gets results against Man City? Let's just be real. Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, Chelsea every now and then. Now, I'm not saying every time they get results against City. I'm saying every now and then they get a result against City. How? When they get a moment, they capitalize on it. And this is even last season, Crystal Palace at home. Crystal Palace at home, they had 2 Olise moments. They capitalized. They scored. The problem with West Ham today is the same problem with any team that plays against Manchester City. You get a chance. You get 2 chances. You don't capitalize. Kudus today, 2-3 chances. Antonio absolutely destroyed Ruben Diaz today. But at the end of the day, couldn't do anything in front of goal. So for me, this is why City win league titles. City win league titles because of consistency. Because it's 38 Premier League games. And when Bowen shoots the ball at Ruben Diaz and he scores an own goal, it's not like, oh, panic settings, fuck, it's 1-1. No, they just keep calm and composure. But from West Ham's perspective, they only have themselves to be disappointed because when it was 2-1, West Ham were building momentum and they could have scored, but they didn't. For me, the player that I think is the best player at Manchester City currently, even though he didn't play today, is Rodri. That's why I cannot attribute Manchester City's success to Haaland or Rodri alone. It has to be Rodri, Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne, all these guys. They're all involved.
It's a team. And again, this is where I kind of defend their players. What will also happen at Man City, because they've got so many superstars, is some will get left by the wayside in terms of their importance. And me and you have had this debate before when we speak about a certain Paul Scholes. Like, he wasn't the most integral player in the
cog in the machine, Terry. Say it as it is.
But you say he's a cog in the machine. That's just because he's not the guy that's getting the hype. But we've seen it with Liverpool. In the early years of Klopp, when all the hype was happening for the Manes and the Trents and the Van Dijks, the player that got left out of the hype ended up, who has actually been your best player in that, was Mo Salah. But the problem was that for whatever reason, Jordan Henderson was getting more hype and praise and was being considered more of a poster boy than him. The players are not always in control about who the media hype up and who the fans hype up, as an example. But look, I think that Haaland for me is a phenom. The City team are one of the greatest English teams in the history. I said it last. I remember doing this on a show with Lee Gunner, and he laughed at me, and I never understood what he didn't. I couldn't understand why he didn't get where I was coming from. This City team is one of Europe's greats. Yes, they've only won 1 European trophy as of right now, but they're on course to doing a 5P, which they've already done a 4P, which no other English team has done. They've won a treble within the mix of that, which only like 5-6 other clubs have ever done. We are not just looking at a very good team. We're looking at one of the greatest sides in the history of football right now. And this man is handling that pressure and he's delivering week in, week out. And look, for all the ability and all the qualities of these other strikers, some of them that I like more than Haaland, some of them that I subjectively would rate more than him, I just can't deny what he's doing on the football pitch, to a point where it's annoying me how good he is. But rather than letting that annoyance, as a 38-year-old man, instead of allowing that annoyance to make me be bitter and look to try and shit on him, I'm just going to do what actually makes me feel better. And that's go, I can't deny this man. The man is an absolute phenom. And we should all just be in awe and feel lucky that we're getting to witness him week in, week out, because he's great for the Premier League as much as anything else. He's just different. Man is an alien.
The only thing that I'd say about this whole 5P, 4P thing, right, and Hussam probably agree with me on this, right? Although it's such an unprecedented achievement because it's never been done before, it's also made a little bit easier by the fact that Arsenal and Liverpool, the two teams that have finished closest to Manchester City in recent years, are just not serious football clubs. And the reason I say that is because the evidence is proven itself yet again with both of our summer transfer windows. Arsenal go out and buy a defender, a midfielder, and then make a last-minute move for Raheem Sterling when we need a killer up front. And Liverpool go out and don't sign anyone. Like, how does that make sense? So when you've got a team like Man City,
they got Chiesa. They got Chiesa.
They got Chiesa.
Yeah. Got a team like Man City, and you
No,
know
Terry,
Man...
I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm just gonna let
I was
you
gonna
have
say
it,
something.
right. We do have Chiesa.
You know,
yes.
when you've got a team like City, and you know that City are more than capable of getting a minimum of 85 to 90 points in the season, you know, you have to go out and try and better that. And you know, like, look at Arsenal in the last 2 years. I think we won 18 of our 19 games in the second half of the season last season. It still wasn't enough for us to win the league. Do you know what I mean? And when you've got a team like Man City that is just winning consistently week in, week out, and then you got football clubs not going out and doing what is required, I just think, you know, it's made easy.
I was gonna say one thing about to challenge that Hassan. See the fact that he talked about Haaland and Terry agreed and said you can't just shit on to score hat-tricks back.
Who's shitting on him, Haaland? I just called him the best striker in the world, Hamza. How's that shitting on him?
You said if Henry was there.
I said he's the best striker in the world. That's shitting on him.
If Henry was there, let me give you an example. Henry had Dennis Bergkamp. Henry had Patrick Vieira. He had Robert Pires. He had the likes of Overmars. They were playing in Ljungberg. These were great. Sol Campbell, Ashley Cole. He had great players around him. You know the fact that you try to dish him out and say, but Rodri,
yes, but Thierry Henry was not asked to be a target man.
The best partnership in the Premier League at that time was Roy Keane Scholes and Patrick Vieira and Petit, and Patrick Vieira and Gilberto. Those are one of the greatest players you'll ever see.
Yeah,
Robert Pires was there. Robert Pires was just not a nobody himself. You know the fact that he said, okay,
that's not what he says behind your back, but he just wants to get you on side.
The problem is Haaland has outscored many strikers, great strikers like who? Like players like Alan Shearer. He scored many hat-tricks. I'm sorry that you feel upset because players that you signed like Darwin Núñez and all that stuff have not hit it, because Liverpool fans initially thought that Darwin Núñez would be this marquee signing. Terry, before we signed Haaland, ask for some. I had Haaland shirt for a year because I was so confident that I knew that we're going to get him. And if we get him, Champions League settings about. Yeah, I knew Harry Kane was not the right guy. When we were bidding £100 million, I said, don't bid for that guy. I don't need a guy that drops back. I want Fox in the box. I don't care about link-up play. I know these deluded football fans sit there, oh, but he doesn't link up. I don't care about link-up. I want that little tap-in that gets me the goal. The goal in the big games. And if he doesn't score, the theory that they say, he doesn't score in the final. The reason why he doesn't score in the final, like, for example, against Inter Milan, the Bozos, Bastoni, and all those Acerbi, they chased him down. And they forgot a guy, Rodri, was coming back. So
you know what, but Hamza, though, even saying he can't be the greatest because he didn't score in finals 2.5 years into his career, Alan Shearer only played in 2 finals and didn't score. Thierry Henry never scored in a final.
That's a constructive.
Suarez never played in the final.
But he'll probably get to that point. I think what's really interesting is this as well. What I find really interesting about football fans is when City were winning these trophies the last couple of years, most fan bases, barring Liverpool, because Liverpool have a dog in this fight, Chelsea fans, especially Arsenal fans, were like, greatest English team ever, Terry. They've overtaken Arsenal. They've overtaken Man United. They've overtaken Man United. Suddenly there's now context of it's easier now. The defenders aren't as good. Football's easier. There isn't the competition. Where was that energy when you were crowning them above Man United's greatest ever teams in that same era that you're fucking talking about? That's what I find so interesting about these conversations.
But I never said that, Terry.
No, I'm not saying you. I didn't say you. I know you haven't, and I get where you're coming from.
That's why I can keep this energy.
No, I get that. In terms of Man City, Hamza, 9 points from 9. Walker's not playing. Rodri's not even in the team yet.
Warden. Foden,
Foden's not about. Savinio's out injured. How confident are you of retaining your title and doing a 5-peat, bro?
I said it, Terry. I prayed Arsenal didn't sign a striker, and I said it to you early in the thing. I said as soon as I saw no striker, I knew Arteta. I don't know what Arteta is thinking about. You go and sign a killer. I knew my team was done. And okay, fair enough. Savio coming in, the best transfer that could have happened to us, Gundogan. Once Gundogan came in, the team is set. I knew the team is set. Not only the league, the Champions League, the FA Cup. We have to go for all of them now. Quadruple. We have to do it all because we've got a great team. Look at the fact that Kyle Walker never played. Rico Lewis has come in. Yeah, young kid, 19-year-old, 3 games. He's performed fantastic. Diaz and Akanji are good. And John Stones and Ake is sitting on the bench. They're world class. Vardio, brilliant, comfortable on the ball. Savio didn't even play. He's come in 2 games. He looks amazing. Doku's been switched to the other right. He looks amazing. It's as if they've been working with each other. Kovacic played by himself in midfield. People said, oh, Rodri's missing the first few games. Rodri never played. He's a Ballon d'Or contender. Ballon d'Or winner, probably. He didn't really play any tough teams. The best player in the league. But he didn't play any tough teams. Nominated by players and managers as the best player in the league, did not even play. KDB, they said he's old. This is the theory. They look absolutely hungry. And you know what, Terry? You know what amazes me? This is what great managers.
How the fuck am I supposed to respond to all that?
They used to make you, want to win. What like back to back to back. And Roy Keane used to say it. And remember, I'll never forget what Roy Keane said. He said, whenever we used to win titles, the next day I'm not celebrating. I'm thinking about next year. That's why, to me, Hassan, I've always said,
who said that?
If I don't win a week, titles a failure. Why? Because I want.
Who used to say that? Who used to say that?
Roy Keane said, the day they used to win league titles.
You should have heard what he said about Roy Keane when he criticized Haaland. I'm telling you right now, this guy's playing the game. Don't trust this. You see this fraud who acts like he's in a living room.
You can never ever trust a TikToker. That's the truth of the matter.
Yes, and he's smiling. Look, I know why you're smiling, Hamza, because you know the truth is fraud. You know when Roy Keane came out and insulted Erling Haaland, called him a League 2 footballer, this guy gave a 25-minute monologue about Roy Keane's career and all that stuff. There's a guy in the chat I want to call out there. I know you'll do super chats in a second, but there's a guy who's addressing me, and I wanna address to the City fans this. The guy, the Nadir guy, the 5.99 guy. Can you bring up that super chat, please? Because I want to address this because I feel like City fans are just going so over the top. He's saying I should never join a City match because I always say something negative. So I've joined the stream. I've said Kevin De Bruyne is the face of the Premier League alongside Mo for the last 6-7 years. I've said Rodri is the best DM in the world, one of the best players in the world. I've said Haaland is the best striker in the world. And I've given City nothing but praise. If I say that Henry is better than Haaland, that does not mean that I'm saying something negative about City. But you guys, Manchester City fans, because you know that you won the jackpot 15 years ago, and you know the way that you achieved all this fucking success, because you were nobodies fucking 15 years ago. You and Middlesbrough were the same level of club. Because you achieved that success, you have this validation kink. You guys mock Arsenal fans all the time. Oh my God, they always seek validation. Why do you give a fuck what I have to say? Even though I just praised 4 of your players. Just because I said Haaland isn't as good as Henry, you're out here crying? That's how pathetic and disgraceful your football club makes you feel. It makes you feel so small because no one respects your fucking achievements. So don't come and bring it out on me. This is the most positive I've ever been about your club. Just because I said Henry is better than Haaland, does not mean that I'm negative about Manchester City. Get a grip.
This super chat here says, I will always take Drogba over Haaland for finals. I understand that logic now. I think eventually Haaland's going to start bagging in them finals as well. And then where do we go from there? Erling Haaland has more goals than all other 19 teams in the league. Let that sink in. What do you mean?
Wow.
This season?
Yep, this season.
Oh, yeah. What, he's got 7 goals. No one else has scored 7 goals. That's crazy.
That's more than any other team. Wow.
Well, Man United haven't played yet. We're going to win. We're going to win 8. We're going to win 6-0 tomorrow. So we'll be on 8. So, yeah.